Hey y'all. I'm coming to you from a kind of a strange space. I've just had the rug pulled out from under me yet again. And so I realize that when someone comes to some realization, whatever it is, it's a personal thing. They've been set up for that, and everything, all the synchronicities have fallen just right, such that what is perfect for them arrives with perfect timing. And so I'm aware of that. I guess I just like to share. I don't know. Anyway, we talk about light and dark, and good and evil, and duality and non-duality, as if it was all so simple, huh? As if it was something that could be mastered and achieved by mind, this thing called awakening. Well, I think a lot of you are with me in your recognition and realization that it's not. That's just not what it is. That's not what it's about, and that's not how it works. And I can't even say, is it a transcendence of mind? It's leaving mind behind. I don't know, all right? I truly don't know. But here's what happened to me and what makes me come to you now. I like Adyashanti. I'm not following anyone in particular anymore. I like to think that I've quit seeking. I don't know how much delusion there is in that. But I don't feel the need to go outside of myself for any particular teaching or understanding. I don't feel like someone else has the ability to gift me with something that I don't have within. And I like Adyashanti for many things, but I appreciate his depth of understanding around the whole subject of awakening. There are many different, there are different kinds of awakening, and I won't try to discuss them. That's for him to do. He's the one that's been there and done that on this stuff, okay? So just let me be a pointing finger here, and I'm going to link you to a particular video, which is really just an audio of one of his radio shows, his satsangs. A lot of people think they're awakened, and they become teachers, and they gather followings and so on. And I think it's relatively easy to see that a lot of them just haven't yet taken the next step that will show them how unawakened they are. Now, that's not a bad thing. Those people following them are obviously at a stage where there's some benefit to them in being with that one right where they are. And that's fine. I mean, let's look at this thing called eternity, huh? Eternity and infinity. You're never gonna completely wake up, because there is eternity and infinity, and there's always the next step to take. the next discovery to make, the next idea to birth. So awakening is not a finite deal. And I guess like anything else, we could say it comes in stages, steps and stages. And so we're all, wherever we are, in spite of where we think we are. It's the thinking part of us that creates the most havoc, that precipitates most of the challenges. And so a huge part of awakening is going beyond. And when they say beyond, in a sense, it's beyond mind. From thinkingness into beingness. I've very casually called it going from head into heart. These are just words. But to the extent that your experience reflects them, then they may speak to you. So, I think it would be a really lovely thing if a lot of us could come to this awareness that in the midst of eternity and infinity, awakening isn't finite. It isn't something where you can say, if this, then that. And it's not accessible to mind as far as I know. I don't know. You know? There's the divine mind, which I can't answer for. I'm just where I am. I'm just one of the guys here sharing, okay? Gals, whatever. It's a body. It's not who we are, right? So, that being said, and see, there's this whole dance that we do with the words, such as awakening versus enlightenment. I'm just putting them both in the same box and saying neither one is ever fully, wholly, and completely accomplished due to the environment being infinity, eternity. Now, don't trust that, okay? Please don't trust anything that your heart doesn't share with you. I'm just doing my best here, and I'm sharing, and it resonates or it doesn't. And I love your comments, by the way. And, you know, I don't need you to agree with me. I'm perfectly happy when you share with me that you don't, and how you don't, and we can have a nice satsang over that, if you will. Anyway, so by that definition, no one is awakened, except Source, I guess, except God. And who knows, maybe awakening is what Source is, the ability to see through every eye, from every perspective. Now, at once. I don't know. You know, I'm not saying I know. All right, back to this video that I heard. I like Adya because I haven't yet found anyone else who displays as much mastery and understanding of the intricacies of awakening. He thoroughly distinguishes between an awakening and an experience. And there are different aspects of awakening, different types of awakening. And you can have one and then another, and it's just, it doesn't mean you have to have them all in order to be awakened. I'm not saying anything more than what I'm saying here. So don't let your mind be trippy with it and go beyond what it is. in this particular satsang that he gave, I think it was 2013 sometime. First of all, the opening where he just talks goes beyond words. It really does, and it's good. It's really good to listen to. That's not why I'm pointing you there. Or let me say it differently. Why I'm pointing you there, the whole thing is truly beautiful and exquisite all the way through. Not 1 second of it bored me. But the last person who speaks is the reason I've listened to it 5 or 6 times now or more. It's deeply shattering. A lot of people are polarized for and against what's being termed as New Age views of things. I don't even want to try to define what New Age is. To me, I see it as something that's diverse. It's a set of beliefs. Mark Passio is calling it a religion. Well, I've been known to call science a religion. So, you know, I think I can understand where he's coming from. But I want to step out of the polarization, out of any kind of getting stuck in a polarity where you feel like you have to fight something. Whatever it is. Somebody shared something with me this morning about, how very strongly this writer came out against Abraham Hicks' teachings and the reasoning that was given for it. And it's the same kind of thing. I suppose some would call Abraham Hicks New Age simply because it came through a person, it was channeled. I'm not going to go there. You know, I for and against is a really old energy to me. This is how things seem to me now. You know, don't trust that they'll seem this way to me tomorrow or next week. But right now, that just seems so 20th century. For and against, you know, go carry your placard and march. Or that even goes back to the 60s, does it not? There's a lot of darkness. There's plenty of darkness to go around. So there's plenty of things that are truly nasty. And so people's choice of a way to awaken, leave them alone. That's what I would like to say. Leave them alone. Let them wake up however the hell they want to wake up. It's not our business to talk somebody into or out of something that they want to do, that they want to follow. Okay, there, I've gotten on my little soapbox. Let me step back down off of it. That's a little presumptuous, but then I guess it's kind of presumptuous to turn on the camera and start talking, huh? And presume that anybody's going to want to hear what I have to say. We all do it, you know. We're all in this together. And that's a big part of it. That's a big part of the mix. That's a big part of what makes it fun. This whole waking up thing is that we are doing it together, and no, we're not crazy. Or if we are, you know, we've got a whole community of other people who are crazy right along with us. I mean, frankly, I think most of us that are waking up view it, I call 3D the backwards realm or kingdom, because whatever it is, if you look at it, if you take it as its opposite, it's probably closer to truth. I mean, all the books, all the things that we were taught, it just turns out that it's just garbage. It's what somebody wants us to believe, and it's not true. It just doesn't stand up to the light of day. So it's chaotic enough out there that if somebody wanted to go against something, there's some really dark stuff that they could go after, you know, if that was going to be the way that we made this into the paradise that it is and deserves to be. I just don't think we need to go after our fellow awakeners. I think we need to leave them the heck alone. That's my 2 cents. And I guess I didn't realize I felt so strongly about it that I would emphasize it so. Anyway, okay, this video. What the heck is so big about this video? The New Age tends to lean towards the only light view. I was in it for a while. I pursued it for some decades. And they don't want to deal in any way with the darkness. They would like to transcend it, to roll it up in a scroll and light it afire and be done with it. If I'm correct, I don't know. If you're more into New Age and you know better, let me know. But anyway, there is this polarity between those who think that light is the answer and only light, and those that don't. Now, as for how people wake up, again, that's their business. That's not our business. So I'd say leave them alone. Respect them. Respect their process. They're doing fine wherever they are, whatever they're believing, they're doing fine, and it's none of your business or mine. A lot of us step into a type of awakening, you know, a part of the awakening process where we begin to discover that there's no I here. If you try to define who and what you are, I've been dancing around this for years. You can't define who you are, and consciousness or awareness, you know, may be a bit of a cop-out. So you're shifting into beingness, and you're realizing that it's not so much that you're doing anymore. Sure, things are getting done. Things are getting done, but you don't find that you're the doer. You can actually witness things getting done, and to others it would look like you were doing them, but to you that's not your experience. The closest I've heard or seen it is that you're being danced, that you are the dance that Source is doing in that case. Now, not to go off the deep end here, but I know some of you will be familiar and more than familiar with this, so you'll know where I'm coming from. So you begin to well and truly lose your sense of identity. Everything you thought you knew, you've already discovered is basically BS. And now, perhaps you're discovering that everything that you think you are is also BS. And it can be some heavy-duty stuff, right? I know it has been for me. And it is right now. We want the only light thing. At the heart of us, we want to be in heaven. We don't want to be in hell. That's just the way of it, right? And we don't tend to question that. What if the cost of awakening, is one way to say it, was to experience both? and to not be in charge of how long or when you were experiencing either one. The lady who calls in to speak with Adya is in hell, deeply in hell. And it's made all the more painful by the fact that she spent some time in heaven. She had a big awakening that was very real. It even got Adya's approval that yes, it was an awakening, an aspect of awakening. Remember, there are many different awakenings. So she was in heaven and she's now in hell, and she's calling Adya and saying, "What? What? These things can arise because you lose your old identity and you become more of an observer than a doer. You're really not a doer anymore. You're watching things being done." Now that's not 24/7. It's like nobody's in samadhi. Well, people are seldom in samadhi 24/7. But best case scenario, you're watching things being done. You're not really the doer. You're the participant, and you're the dance. You're being danced. You're not even a being. You're certainly not a third dimensional thing or any dimensional thing. You're not a thing. And so you lose the personal will. It falls away. And so you're this observer and you're watching. And suddenly you find yourself in the midst of every kind of darkness that you could imagine to the power of 10. Unimaginable, deeply dark stuff. You're not you don't have a will. So you are the experiencer of that. You're watching it. And people want to say, what do I do? Well, who would be doing the doing? You're being. Do you say, what do I be? That's a little different. Anyway, Adyashanti talks her through it. It's not that by the end of the talk that she's suddenly better and back in heaven. That's not what I mean by talks her through it. But he lends a hand and points her in the right direction. And it's really awesome, and it's really deep, and it just gives you a whole new take on awakening, because the answer is not to run from hell. In a way, hell is the balancing factor of the heaven. In a way, it's as if the sine wave was equaling itself out. You went this high, you will go this low. In a way. Now that's just a mental way of looking at it, but you know, it works in a limited way. And there's nobody there to run from it, and you wouldn't want to run anyway. You don't go through what we've been through just to chicken out at some point and say, no, I've had enough. I'm not doing this. We are lovers of truth. And that, my friends, is what will see us through. Gosh, do I have anything else to say? Probably not. This widescreen aspect ratio, I just can't find the control that will let me change it. So I know it's ridiculous to just put your face out there on widescreen. I just don't. I've gone even to the little manual that comes with the Logitech webcam. It's Pro C920, so if anybody can tell me how to get it out of widescreen, that would be very cool. Talk to you again soon. Are with me in your recognition and realization that it's not. That's just not what it is. That's not what it's about, and that's not how it works. And I can't even say, is it a transcendence of mind? It's leaving mind behind. I don't know, all right? I truly don't know. But here's what happened to me and what makes me come to you now. I like Adyashanti. I'm not following anyone in particular anymore. I like to think that I've quit seeking. I don't know how much delusion there is in that. But let me be a pointing finger here, and I'm going to link you to a particular video, which is really just an audio of one of his radio shows, his satsangs. A lot of people think they're awakened, and they become teachers, and they gather followings and so on. And I think it's relatively easy to see that a lot of them, just what is perfect for them arrives with perfect timing. And so I'm aware of that. I guess I just like to share. I don't know. Anyway, we talk about light and dark, and good and evil, and duality and non-duality, as if it was all so simple, huh? As if it was something that could be mastered and achieved by mind, this thing called awakening. Well, I think a lot of you, hey y'all, I'm coming to you from a kind of a strange space. I've just had the rug pulled out from under me yet again. And so I realize that when someone comes to some realization, whatever it is, it's a personal thing. They've been set up for that. And everything, all the synchronicities have fallen just right, such that I don't feel the need to go outside of myself for any particular teaching or understanding. I don't feel like someone else has the ability to gift me with something that I don't have within. And I like Adyashanti for many things, but I appreciate his depth of understanding around the whole subject of awakening. There are many different, there are different kinds of awakening, and I won't try to discuss them. That's for him to do. He's the one that's been there and done that on this stuff, okay? So just